welcome to another episode of To Be Frank with myself, Frank Castillo. We're here in Los Angeles. First time here at the Melrose Podcast Studios. Great studio. Shout out you guys. Love you. Ari Manis and Abby Roberge. Today's guest is my good friend and I don't want to get the title wrong.
Director of
Events. All right, cool.
Yes.
Director of Events over at PUFFCO. You did the PUFFCO drive-in with the Comedy Store.
Yes.
And then you also have been crushing the PUFFCO LA these past 4 years now, is it?
4 years. We just
crazy.
Celebrated. Yeah.
Isn't that so wild?
I mean, time flies, especially like it's stupid when you're having fun. Like we're having a blast.
Yeah, it is. Like watching you do the drive-in theater or the drive-in show was phenomenal. Also, everyone at the Comedy Store they always talk about how sweet and how great and how dope you were.
Thank you.
They always sing your praises. And it also kind of makes me laugh too because, it's the comedy club. So they're like, when they hear like a weed company, they think like a weed company. They don't quite understand or kind of like understand that it's like it's a vaporizer, it's like a device.
Yep.
So when they like see like corporate people that are like good at their job and like take it seriously, they're like, oh wait, they're like, we were expecting.
Look, I'm in the same boat. When I find myself dealing with as professional cannabis related people, I'm like, oh man, can you just be on time to the Zoom call? For sure.
No, it's always so funny because I remember, I've worked with you guys multiple times, so I've also been on those Zoom calls, and it's funny because like I'll show up on time, but then like I will rip the PUFFCO in the meeting, and then you see everyone go, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forget. I'm sorry, but I guess this is what I'm using it correctly. It's so funny.
For sure. I mean, we're hiring you or working with you in a position where the PUFFCO is part of it. So you might as well enjoy.
Yeah, it was, but the drive-in show was phenomenal.
Thank you.
And then it's so cool to see how PUFFCON's evolved and everything you guys have done, and how because I've been there every year, and it's fun and it's so cool. I've skipped other comedy events to just do PUFFCON because it's so fun, and it does feel like I'm hanging out with family when I go.
Yep.
But it's cool to see how you guys have grown and to see like the things that, if there are any other like you guys are continuously trying to get better.
Yep.
So like I remember you moved the Glass Artist this year to a much more better spot, and it's cool to see like, dude, you gave all of them so much shine. And it was so cool to see this year, to see how many Glass Artists were there and how many tops were available. And this year was so fun.
Thank you. I mean, we definitely put our heart and soul into it, went as hard as we could, and definitely heard from people that there was almost too much to do in one day, which is a good feeling to have for sure.
Yeah. How do you feel as like, someone, because I watch you working in the event, running around, screaming at people to move cars, which is like my favorite to see you because you're so nice, but then see you to be direct was so fun.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome, man. Over the time, I've realized that like, I'm like a producer of experiences. So like the more I can just like give somebody else what I would want, I guess put myself in their shoes, great. And when it's time to turn on and put my angry eyebrows on, I'm going to get the results I want because they're not used to seeing them, So I'm yelling over the mic to move your car. They're like, oh, Kev's never asked me to do anything. I better get in my car immediately.
Yeah, it is so fun. It's great. And also you're like, oh God, the nice guy's telling, oh yeah, oh my God. All right. I
you got it, boss.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, no problem. Oh,
For sure.
It is cool. Were you always into like these kind of experiences? Did you go to a lot of festivals or did you?
Yeah, I would say, I've been in the industry alone for over 10 years. Before that, I was going to raves as a kid. I was losing my mind on the weekend. But what you learn from outside of cannabis experiences is that like they're providing something fun besides just vendors, you know? And so, I've picked up little pieces along the way and put myself in people's shoes enough and saw where other people were falling short and built up quite a career out of it for sure.
Where were you before PUFFCO?
Before PUFFCO, I was throwing an event called Chalice Festival.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
okay,
so
sick.
Pre-PUFFCon, I would say that Chalice was the leader in the U.S. hash festival. When it came time to part with them, I was already good friends with Roger. Something like we talked about, the corporate world. It was like, who has a head on their shoulders that I can see myself having a future with? And what's better than like succeeding with friends?
Exactly.
So he was my first call and took me under his wing a little bit and the company's wing. And I started doing sales for a year or two. And it was mostly, maybe mostly to give me a job, looking back at it. But when it came time to shine and we started doing more event-related stuff, everybody's like, holy, you've done this in the biggest scale. Why aren't you doing this for the current company. So
Yeah.
it's been a blessing for sure.
That's been really cool. It's cool to see people like find their spots in the company and then really like, that's the thing that I like about PUFFCO is that you get to see like people like really shine in their jobs and really like they give them the freedom to do that. And it's kind of like cool. That's kind of like about the whole business too. And the responsibility that Roger has too of like, because we have a lot of conversation about comedy and how that relates to like, you know, the industry and then also just working for corporate entities. Like a lot of people, you know, they always feel like it's like you got to go your full hardest when you're doing stand-up or just comedy. But it's like when you work for a corporation or just working for someone else, you also got to know how to like operate within the lines.
Of course.
So it is cool to see Roger like real talk comedy and stuff. And he was like, I got to make sure it's like, it's good. I got to make sure it's like, you know, I'm not like, not that I'm not hurting people's feelings, but I got to make sure like everyone's included and this is like a positive.
For sure.
And I always like that about him. Like I like that.
Definitely. It's great, man. And there's a lot of trust within the company for people to shine. And like, you know, the only one that's going to hold you back at PUFFCO is yourself. It's like as long as you're grinding and want the best, they're going to let you make that happen, you know? So it's pretty cool. Yeah. Roger's a saint.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. His brothers are my favorite.
Oh my gosh, they are
bros. So funny.
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to interview Roger and I'm going to tell him all about his brothers.
Bring the brothers in,
dude,
man.
I want to interview the brothers so badly because I've heard like small bits and pieces of like, I think one of them was a DJ and I was like, that's so fascinating.
Totally. They were the Cartel twins for a while.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
The longer beards than Rogers.
Oh my God.
They had a little more meat on their bones and really slendered up and like got into physical fitness.
Yeah, they're BJJ guys, which is great.
They were training me and my wife for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, during pandemic.
Oh, okay.
I was in the best shape of my life.
Oh, my God.
And then life came back, you know, and I'm like, I can go out and get food again and I don't have to work out.
You do have like the, how do I put this? You do have the, not like.
Don't sugarcoat it.
I'm not even trying to sugarcoat it. It's me just not remembering the word, but it's like the stride and the like. Person who carries himself is like you wouldn't assume that you have a bunch of muscles and then like you rip the shirt off and then you're like, oh, he's got a 12-pack. This is crazy.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
I'll take that.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I got the Ned Flanders going on.
100%.
It's fire. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. And then you've been with your wife for how long now?
Oh, geez, I don't want to get this wrong on camera. We've been fire. We've been married for 7 years.
Oh my God.
We've been together for 12.
That's amazing.
Yes, shout out to wifey. Yeah. She's the one that keeps me sane at home.
I mean, I get that.
I try to show love. Like, you know, you can't throw an event for other people unless there's people nurturing you too.
100%.
So that's been a fun road, and like, you know, knock on wood, no rocks on that road. It's like people will ask me like, oh, after marriage, did it change? Did you know? I'm like, how could it have changed?
That's the funniest thing when people say that to me. It was like, people are like, did it change? Did it change? I was like, no, I think if it changes, that's a bad thing.
Yeah, you weren't doing enough pre-marriage, like burping and farting and showing your true colors, you know? You're trying to impress them a little too much or something.
Yeah. And so I always thought that it was like, I think, if it changes, that's when it's bad. But if nothing changes, if anything, it's gotten better.
Better, for sure. I mean? It's like that knot you tied and like forever. So it's good.
She a big stoner too?
She is.
Oh, okay, that's
she
cool.
is, which is great. You know, going back, she never smoked before we had met, and I've never been into alcohol. She has alcohol intolerance, so it was like meant to be that like she'd see me medicating or basically getting stoned, for lack of better, you know, public words. But yeah, getting stoned and kind of be like, all right, I support you ripping the bong 12 years ago. We weren't even dabbing yet, you know?
Yeah.
And then over time, she's like, well, I guess you could shotgun me a hit, and I'll see what it's about.
Like, oh, yeah, I love shotgunning.
Fire.
No, it's fun to see, like, the influence of, because I'm the same way. I don't like drinking too much.
Yep.
I pretty much stopped.
Totally.
If I have a beer, I'll have one.
I got to say, I've been enjoying micheladas lately.
Oh, whoa, okay.
It's a different, that's like drinking a soup.
Yeah. You a big tomato soup fan?
Not at all. I'm just a fan of like enjoying a nice crisp bevy.
Yeah.
You know, but that being said, still not a fan of alcohol. Won't be taking shots or anything that gets me belligerent.
I don't know, man. I'm 35. I get indigestion now when I take shots. And that's never made me feel more old than like you know, everyone's like, let's take a shot. You take one, then you're like, does anyone have a Tums?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm like, I got no plans the next day with this hangover.
Oh,
creeping.
God.
Nope.
I had 2 beers and I had got a hangover. I was like, I can't do this. This is insane.
Well, maybe there were those strong ones, those IPAs or something.
No, it was actually 2 of the tall boys. So, that was like 4 beers. But, what was I going to say? There was one thing that I wanted to, so with working with the PUFFCO and the device,
I love it obviously because it is electronic. And the thing that I've noticed too is a lot of people, I feel like there's a lot of pushback between like people who love the old school way, which is nothing wrong with that.
Of course.
Right. And then the thing I always tend to run into is like people who are like, butane's the best. I love the torch, which is always hard to explain to them, where it's like, the thing that I love about PUFFCO and the device is that it does open it up to people who don't smoke hash or who would get turned off by the torch.
Yep.
Because there's people that especially with comics and just people that I've met, and there's so many comics who I know love getting stoned.
For sure.
And I'll be like, hey, do you want to smoke hash? And they'll be like, dabs? Ugh.
Of course.
Like, you got
They're used to the old fashioned. Right.
So it's hard to explain to those guys that it's like, it's fine to like that. I think the gatekeeping or that like feeling is, I get that it's like warranted because it's like, this is my thing. This is like my niche. This is it's my culture, you know? And I guess what I'm trying to say is like, you shouldn't be scared because like, I'm getting so many people to smoke off the PUFFCO who would never have smoked hash, who like hash, they just don't know it.
For sure, you're bringing them to Hash Mountain.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
it's a blessing for that because we've got mutual friends even that like they couldn't smoke in their house with their wife and kids before the Peak came out or the PUFFCO device
100%.
came out. Nobody wants their kid at school saying, "Oh, my daddy was lighting a fire at the coffee table or something."
Yeah.
That being said, of course, that niche world, it's always going to exist. I was a member of it.
I still am.
Yeah, I love taking a blaster and getting zooted off a Hot Boy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when I'm like trying to enjoy my fade for the day and be productive and not set myself to another world, then that's it.
Because I always like to think of like, I'm never going to make fun of someone for rocking a slurper or doing any of that or like rocking a torch.
For sure.
Right. So it's like funny when people like try to give me shit for rocking the PUFFCO. I'm like, God, like, look what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I can't bring a full rig to Rogan's club.
Totally.
You know what I mean? I can't be in the bar just, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a tougher that way, but it's like, it's different if I got a pivot or a proxy.
For sure. And like, Roger and the team have always wanted to support the glass community at the same time. Yeah, ever since the Peak. And then they realized, oh man, the Peak is really hard to design around, and making a piece that fits proper with the angle and stuff is tough. So then the proxy was born. And over time, things just evolve. And now we're making rig adapters. So we're making things for the pivot that are for other people's products altogether. Like, you're a glass blower, put this on, give it a shot, that type of thing.
It is very, very cool to see. It is, I mean, there's pushback with everything, but it is cool to see you guys. I'd say you guys are just like, hey, guys, we're trying. You know what I mean? We're doing our thing. You know
and some see it, and other people that
like,
have a outside scope on it, they're not at PuffCon having fun and seeing these glass artists crush it.
And that's also the other thing, is anytime I see that, I'm always just like, yeah, man, but do you see how much fun we're all having? Dude, like, just come hang out.
It's the best, man.
Just get a slice of pizza.
That's it.
Hang out, watch Action Bronson. It's so much fun.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to give my little 2 cents on that whole thing.
It's nice being a part of the community, supporting the community, but also having the best intentions the whole time.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anytime I've gone to PuffCon, it's always felt like I've been a celebrity there.
It's fun.
Especially after 4 years, it's like, not only do people like know me from stand-up, but they also know me from just the hash stuff. And it just feels like, I don't know, it just feels good. It feels like family.
You're a culture icon, man. It's awesome.
Hey,
look, in the cannabis world at least, okay? In the very niche world of cannabis usage.
I mean, it is your character in the like PUFFCO lore is my favorite. I mean,
thank you.
Watching you do the sketches and everything, like, it does feel almost like an SNL when I see how much fun and freedom you guys have.
Yeah.
That you guys get to kind of do with, I mean, the creative side with the company. Like, I don't see anyone else really doing that.
For sure. Everybody else is worried about, selling the product through the ad. We're just worried about putting it out a cool ass ad that other people are like, wow, what are they talking about in the ad even? It's fun. And our creative director, Kirk.
Of course.
He's one that always says he's very precious with mine and Roger's usage on camera.
Yeah.
He's like, when I got to really do something, I'm bringing out Kev or whatever.
And it's kind of, it's like the Snuffleupagus in Sesame Street.
I'll take that.
Yeah. You know what I mean? You're like, did you see it this week?
For sure.
Yeah.
It's a fun time.
What were you like in high school? Were you always like a big stoner, or did you play music or anything like that?
I would say, it's funny. I was watching one of your podcast recently, actually, and I too was not really a sports person. You know, once I got to high school, I felt like, oh wow, now I'm like part of this organization. Like I'm going to school, I got to go to after. So I too was doing like drama for a couple years, theater related stuff, and then just kind of started smoking weed.
What was? Do you remember like the first like moment that it was for you that you were like, oh, okay?
Yeah, I would say so. Like I was at the weird bubble of probably, early 2000s for sure. I graduated 2004. Probably 2002 or so was my first time knowing I was high. You know when you try it and like you don't know probably how to inhale really, or you smoke it out of a little can or whatever. I like hit the bong.
Okay.
And immediately felt like this, like, I felt high, whatever. But that being said, like, it just like, it took away some ailments. Like I always had anxiety, this, that, or the other, but it was just for me, man. I'd be ripping around in my little Honda, enjoying life, smoking weed. Like,
where did you grow up?
I grew up in a city called Diamond Bar.
Oh wait, is that like a desert town?
It is not.
No.
You're thinking of something else.
Wait, Diamond Bar's near the ocean.
It is not either. So
oh my god! All right, how about
let's talk about geography real quick. Diamond Bar's funny because it's actually like on the very perimeter of LA County.
Okay.
So it's literally next to Pomona.
Okay.
So like growing up, Diamond Bar was cool, but I had other friends like that lived at the north end of Diamond Bar that might have been closer to Pomona. So I was like this weird, I don't know. I had a weird, diverse group of friends growing up, which was cool. It allowed me to like
multicultural.
Definitely.
That's kind of nice. Right?
It was nice, man. It was amazing. I mean, things from like Diamond Bar High School is over 50% Asian.
Yeah.
So as far as scholastics, they're like top notch. They got good sports programs. All the shit I didn't care about, really.
You're like, this is all pretty cool if I was into it. Yeah.
Could have been cool for someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like had diverse groups of friends growing up. Anything from, younger Asian kids growing up to then I found out like, oh man, the guys into the Hondas, they might have been a little more diverse and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just like a melting pot of
It's interesting growing up in a melting pot.
Yes.
Because like I grew up in the Bay Area and I was never surrounded by just one race of people.
Totally.
Right? So like when I moved to Temecula when I was in high school, it was all just white people.
Yep.
And it was like a few Native Americans and like, people who like, but it was predominantly like Mormons.
For sure.
And like just, military people.
Yep.
So it was like, it was such a culture shock for me to see people who'd never like, didn't have that growing up around diversity. So it's weird, right? Have you ever like?
It's very weird, and like I'm sure my parents didn't have that as much growing up.
Yeah,
you know those things where it's like you look back and you're like, all right, cool, that's been pretty cool. Like learning certain characteristics and things where it's like, cool, I might like a michelada. That's cool with me, man.
Dude, the first time I had lumpia at my friend's house, I remember I came home and I was like, Mom, you gotta. I don't know what these are, but we gotta
make them. They're like little taquitos or something.
Yeah, these are better than what we do. What are we doing here?
Fire.
Yeah. It's I remember the first time meeting Samoans. That was very cool.
That is cool.
They were very, very big.
Definitely.
Yeah. They all my cousin played a lot of sports.
For sure.
So all of his friends were like football players, basketball players, and he ended up marrying a Samoan lady. Sweetest lady in the world.
Totally.
So fucking cool, dude.
Yeah, it's cool how many things out there, and traveling with PUFFCO and seeing different sides of the world. I know you've done it too.
That's also the cool thing too.
Insane.
It's been fun, like introducing hash to people and then being introduced to certain kind of hash. Like when I went to Spain, being able to meet a lot of Spanish people and a lot of like different Europeans and seeing how they like do hash and how they invite. Like there's I don't say his name, but there's an Irish gentleman I met. He's a big hash head. It was very cool meeting him and learning how they do it out there.
It's different in other countries. They're still wanting to educate each other and they're still learning together. Probably because they're not really trying to monetize it as much, maybe.
Yeah.
And there's not like texts that they're as secretive about.
Yeah. It definitely feels more of like a sharing of cultures and a melding of minds. It's nice. I messed up the other episode and said Moroccan bubble hash, and then I got yelled at a bunch. Do you know the style of Moroccan hash that they do?
Nope. Yo, the worst part is like, that's just butt hash, man.
because I know there's like piatella, which is like the finer.
That's a curing process. They do and whatnot.
Yes. And then this in Spain they also do aside from piatella. Was there another type of hash that they do?
Yeesh, I don't know that they're dialed in on their own other type of hash. They're killing it on the full melts and the you know, that type of stuff. Otherwise, it's crazy. I mean, there's literal finger hash that people are making off of trimming plants and rolling up balls of resin.
There's people who still love a lot of the old school guys that I meet are like, how do you still can get like scissor hash or like finger hash? And I'm like, that blows my mind. And like, do you know where I can get like a temple ball? And I'm like, wow.
Temple ball though. Yeah, shout out Frenchie, man. Rest in peace. That's insane. And that's cool that you can still see his tech living through other people that he's taught over the years. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
Yeah, I'm like, man, I can get rosin nowadays. What are you talking about?
yeah. It is. It's. I don't know why this has always interested me, like this, like hash and like the different methods of them doing it and just like the plant. And, you know, I always thought just like getting stoned was like, you know, I was like, yeah, I like smoking weed. And then it just became like a deeper hobby of mine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even like getting older and learning like, oh, you know, there's strains out there that's not just what the weed guy has.
Oh, 100%.
You know, it's like we were getting some sour, but there's all kinds of stuff that we didn't even know about in high school.
Yeah.
Granted, that was probably when like Kush was first making its appearance.
It's wild to see the different relationships people have with certain strains. Like I vividly remember high school and like Trainwreck and Blue Dream and like just Girl Scout cookies and how Girl Scout cookies took over my life just because I just love the smell and I love the taste. And it was like, yeah, that's all I could get my hands on. I couldn't get enough of it.
That's like when I found papaya for the first time. That was still only a decade ago, probably, or something.
The taste off papaya is just so. What is your favorite like flavors?
You know, I'm a gassy fan.
Okay.
Like as funny as it is to say on radio, I like GMO and stuff that gets me stoned to the bone.
I'm a big GMO.
People hate on it, but that's fine.
But I think that's
I want it.
I think it's because it's such a staple, right?
I think so too, and it gives me what I like grew up like craving, like that heavy behind the eyelids feeling, that kind of lethargic, like I'm stoned, a bit of couch lock type of thing. I wasn't trying to be all buzzy and like do all that stuff. I'm trying to like sit there. So yeah, GMO, gassy strains in general. I mean, I love me some fruity terps and all of that stuff, but I don't know that it gives me the high I like as much as, you know, I like the terpenes.
Yeah.
For sure.
That GMO, it was very fun. I remember I was with Masonic. He was judging a kit, and we were talking, and I got to watch him, like, judge how he like his kind of style, how he judges hash. And then he goes, smells all the jars, and he, like, picks out the ones. He's like, GMO, GMO, GMO. And he's like, everyone always does GMO. And I was just like, you know, giving his, like, kind of little, like, speech about GMO. And he was like, I don't think it's going to win. And then by the end of it, we found like the best jar. He goes, the only way GMO is going to win is like, unless you're a person who dialed in is like, I'm focusing on GMO. This is what I want to perfect. This is what I want to grow.
For sure.
And then I think out of that whole judging kit, there was one that he was like, oh, okay, they did exactly what I said.
I like
and
that.
he was like, all right, this is the one. And he's like, this is the GMO that wins. He was like, it's so good.
He would know for sure.
Yeah.
Some people, they choose what like dumps the most on the return. Other people are terp snobs and chasing that, right?
Yeah, you start to see. That's the thing that I've started to learn while watching kind of just the hash community and like smoking hash stuff is there's like, I don't want to say anyone can make hash, but like if you've got enough money, you can just go buy an Osprey.
Yeah, sure. I mean, or you can like, you know, squish some flower rosin is probably the easiest entry method to making hash from flower, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
But
and anybody can do that.
Anyone can do that. But I think the people who are like, all right, let me go hunt the flavor that not everyone's trying to do.
For sure.
Or let me try to be a little different. That to me is like when I watch a comic be like, all right, let me try to do stand-up that's going to get me like on something. Or let me try to do something that's going to get the industry to like me versus someone who's like, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to do my own style. And then see what happens.
Which is, that's how people shine a lot of times too, for sure.
Yeah. God, I'm so stoned right now. No.
Nice. Same, brother. Hell yeah. The only way.
Perfect. What are we at? 25? Perfect.
Look at us.
Oh, man. That flew by.
Nice.
Is there any questions you have for me?
I don't think so, man. Tell me a little bit about your recent endeavors. Have you been in Austin recently?
I was in Austin. I should probably catch everybody up. So I was in Austin, I think maybe 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, this is when we filmed the McCusker episode. And so, yeah, probably about 3 weeks ago. Since then, I went to When We Were Young.
Okay. Oh, how was that?
That was great.
Fun.
I spent $8,000 on my cat.
That's real.
That's so fun.
Look, but to be real, some people would have spent that on the When We Were Young event. They might have gone there and got the biggest penthouse.
Actually, yeah.
And so that's how much kept your cat alive.
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Also, it's like when I was at the When We Were Young festival, it's like they have cabanas, and that makes me laugh because it's like it's an emo festival
for sure.
So it's like, how are you gonna be sad in a cabana? You know what I mean?
My God.
You know?
Yeah, lots of shade. It's dark.
Yeah. You get 4 bottles, you get bottle service. You know what I mean? It definitely feels like it's capitalism meets like the thing we love. But yeah, it was fun. And then I got Moon Tower, so I'm going back to Austin in April.
Is that your recent post where you were talking about a festival?
Yeah, it's a big festival. So I haven't done a lot of festivals.
Yep.
So last year I got to do the Netflix festival, sold out the show they gave me, which was really, really cool. And then I got this one, Moon Tower, and then Netflix doing another festival this year. Fingers crossed. Hey. But I mean, hopefully, I sold mine out last year, so I'm sure they'd be like, all right, well, let's see what bigger looks like.
No doubt.
And then I guess I don't know. I want to do a special in a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to. The plan right now is to get a place in Texas, like rent a bed, like a 1-bedroom or like a small place, and then be in LA and in Austin 2 weeks out of the month, just doing stand up.
Okay.
Wow. I just want to focus on stand up and do the pod, and then see what shooting a special in a year looks like.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good on you, man. You've been refining your craft. It's cool to watch.
Yeah. And I've just been writing, so it feels good. I feel very like happy and like good. Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah. And I smoked all my PUFFCO hash. But other than that, from PuffCon. But it was
I've been slowly dipping into the reserves for sure.
Right? Yeah. It feels like Christmas whenever I go.
Oh man. And it's funny because like that becomes like the dessert to me. It's like you get these exclusive jars from your not everyday hash makers.
Yeah.
So then you still have to make sure you got your lunch and dinner there. So you got to get your daily hash.
Yeah.
It's probably not quite as exquisite.
Yeah.
But it keeps you fed.
No, it's good hash. Yeah.
Otherwise, you dip into your dessert.
And
I'm running through that fucking thing and I'm only eating dessert for 3 weeks and then I'm mad about it. I'm looking back I fuck all my good stuff in one sitting.
You're like, fuck. Yeah. You're like, what? It's like eating all the it's like eating all the marshmallows and
you can't
Lucky
do
Charms.
that, bro.
Yeah.
You can't.
Oh my God. Yeah, that is so funny. That's funny for 200 weed heads.
Shout outs.
Yeah. All the comedians are like, what are you talking about?
That's nice.
That's so fun. Yeah, it's when you get like, it's always fun when you get gifts, but it's always cool when someone's like, hey, this is like special. Keep this in your freezer.
No doubt.
And
it's like not just a sticker or a
Yeah.
tchotchke. Shout out to all your tchotchkes, but, but give me something.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, it is. Shout out Kalia. They take care of me so much.
Yeah. That's
Alien
family.
Labs, all the big guys. So it's great.
All of
I
it.
truly love those guys.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get to some questions.
Sick.
All right, what are some of your biggest irrational fears?
Oh boy, irrational fears? I don't know. I'm such a overthinker in general, probably.
Whoa,
that
are you prepared?
Life is overwhelming. Like, I don't know, man. It's like, not to go back to the PuffCon thing too much, but like when there's just a lot on the plate, I can't turn it off. So like it's hard to say that something becomes a fear, man. It's like my fear is just like not giving it my all at things.
That's the funniest irrational fear I've ever heard.
So
Usually
stupid.
people are like, I'm feared that like my car tires are gonna explode. You're just like, you're such a good hardworking dude. You're like, my biggest fear is I'm just not gonna care so much about the current thing that I'm doing.
I guess I'm afraid of something going down wrong at the power plant while I'm on my 9 to 5. Yeah, forgetting my hard hat one day or something.
That's so funny.
Oh,
that
man.
says Man, that says a lot about how good of a heart you have. That's so funny.
It's silly that's it, man. Maybe I'll think of something as we go on.
You're like spiders, actually. Yeah,
I'll do the Family Feud and go back to the one I didn't know the answer to.
That's so funny. Oh my God, that made me laugh so hard. All right, what are some things? Okay, well, I guess probably not this one then. All right. So, what is this? What's the craziest thing that's happened at a family gathering? Christmas, birthday, Thanksgiving.
It's got to be it's like a whole gathering.
Sure, or whatever. Yeah, or whatever.
God, I don't want to make myself look bad, but it was.
Oh my God!
It was probably me as a punk ass teenager,
God.
like getting in a fight with my brother over some shit. You know, not to out myself too much, but yeah. Otherwise, like,
did you and your brother? Were you and your brothers the kind of brothers that like fought?
Not much. He was older than me.
Oh, okay,
but I think there was a point in my life where I was just like, probably not performing to my best, you know? And he's not the type that's like extremely like compassionate. He's like the tough love type.
Yeah.
So it's more like the get your shit together type, you know? And we like literally got in a fight the one time and like had pops pulling us apart. And who knows if you're actually swinging as hard as you want with your brother. Like, yep. Wow, I'm really shaping up. Your wife's going to have a heyday with these responses.
Not at all. No, you know, it's so funny you say that because I've never been in that. I've never had that dynamic.
Yep.
I have younger brothers. I have younger sisters. So I've always been like very, very cool and nice to them. But I used to have older cousins who would just beat the shit out of me.
That's real.
Like they would fucking they would pick on me nonstop just because I was like the middle cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's funny. I tell the story. My cousin, God rest his soul, before he passed away, he went to rehab, cleaned up and stuff. And in that, you have to do your steps, right?
For sure.
And I remember he came up to me once and he was like, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know, I'm real sorry for everything that
that'd be one of my steps.
Yeah, we did to you when we were kids and teenagers and stuff." And I was like, "Dude, it wasn't that bad." And he was like, No, it was bad."
Yeah,
and I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "No, we fucked with you a lot." And I was like, "What do you?"
I guess I've blocked out.
I was like, "All right. Well, I guess it's all serious now."
And then you had the butterfly effect, and you went back and you like spasming out. Change one thing, and you don't have any arms anymore.
Oh my God, yeah, that's funny. But I mean, I've seen my dad and his brother fight. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't seem like. But also that could just, my wife's probably like, that's just trauma. Because like also like my family was like slug out. Like they'd get into fights and then at the end they'd be drinking beers, being like, "I love you." Of course,
definitely.
Yeah.
It's better than just waiting and talking shit behind each other's backs for 30 years
and
or
then
something.
Cancer shows up.
Yeah, totally. And you're like, "We got to go see him. I'm so sorry." Fuck.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's so real.
That's too real, maybe.
That's so funny.
That's so real.
Yeah. All right. That cracks me up. All right. That's so now I kind of know what. All right. So what was something you did as a kid / teen that still haunts you that's like cringy?
Man, I mean, fucking probably like punching holes in the wall or something. I guess.
Were you a punch the walls in the hall kid?
There was a different time.
There was weak drywall.
There was this. Yeah, exactly. I just remember like there was just like, you know, when you're just like mad at the world type stuff.
No, of course. Yeah.
I guess I just didn't know what I was gonna do with life yet, probably.
But I mean, yeah, that's not too great. Yeah.
It's cringy. Fucked if I know. Probably. I don't know. What do I do? What haunts me when I'm about to go to bed?
Yeah,
what's
that thing that pops in?
I was 13 when that happened.
I got pantsed in front of everybody in drama school.
That's fucked up. Undies and all?
Oh, dude. So it was great because full dick and balls. And then I like covered my butt first and then I went front. So it was like this weird back and then front thing. And then... Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on that note, if we're talking about like, you know, naked bodies in public.
I love how you're like, just fighting my brother at Thanksgiving. Like there was other sweeter, like easier stories you could have went to.
I guess like when I was in like 6th grade freaking, you know, camp where you go to Arrowhead.
Oh, okay.
I got like the shower opened on me when I was in there. And it's like, you're at your most vulnerable, you know?
Yeah. Did you scream?
I don't know that I screamed. I definitely probably cried later. But then I remember the next like 2 days taking a shower and you're like holding the top of the door. Kids are fucked up, man. I need that kid to call me like your cousins did.
And we're like, we're sorry. Dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, nothing like that ever happened to me aside from getting pants.
Sure.
We're trying to think of something like too cringe. There's a great, my family loves to tell the story.
Oh, let's hear it.
It was a family reunion. I think it was like the Castillos, my grandma's side of the family. It was just like, it was literally like everybody from like generations.
I mean, it was everyone because you said the last name. So there was other.
Dude, there was like full, like it was full families. It was like, it was embarrassing. And so they're playing music, and then I don't know why, but I was like, I'm gonna go break dance.
Okay.
So then I went.
You had experience or no?
No. I was like 9, 10 maybe.
For sure.
I go out on the dance floor, everyone's there, and then I go to do a dance move, and the first move goes great. Everyone's like, all right, this is kind of cool. He might do it. The second move, I just bash my head into the floor.
Fire.
And everyone's like, ooh. And then I had to like get up and walk back to the table, just holding my head.
Oh my God,
and
little
it was
Frankie.
Like, dude, yeah, I'm pretty sure I gave myself a concussion.
Man. Well, on that note, I one time took like a hip hop class. Look, you just had to unlock these memories.
How old are you?
I was probably 12 or something.
Oh, that's fine.
It was not high school. It was like, I want to diversify my abilities. I went and I thought it was going to be like breakdancing. You're learning cool stuff. I must have had that hip hop lady from the meme videos where she's just like, and this is this. And I just went home and was like, Mom, I'm never going to that place again.
Oh my God.
It was the cringest white lady teaching me hip hop moves that, felt like
amazing.
Yep.
I took, so in community college, I carpooled with like 3 other girls. And I had to fill my last elective, and they all took tap dance. So I was like, well, I might as well just take tap dance. And then I just took tap dance for a semester, and I hit on every chick that was in that class.
Fire.
No, it was not the kind of chicks you could hit on. It was they were all just like very serious about tap dancing. They were like, we're not here to fuck around.
Yep.
We're here for tap dance. Like I was like, oh shit, all right, cool.
It's funny you say that. My wife, she teaches dance, but her specialty is tap dance. So she's like on the inner cusp of like, they're a different type of dancer altogether.
Different type of dancer.
No doubt. I mean, they're making a song with their feet while a song is going on.
Crazy.
It's really crazy. So yeah, she's definitely has this like following in the tap world of like, oh, you're blah blah blah's sister. And
that's so funny.
For sure.
They also, it is a funny culture and a funny like scene because I've seen them. They'll have like tap dance T-shirts.
Sure.
So they had it was like remember the old tap out? UFC MMA?
Of course.
So they had a tap
Some
dance.
Chuck Liddell shit or something.
Yeah, they had a tap dance one it was so funny.
That's classic.
But I remember I sat in for like an advanced class because I took the beginners and it was like I was like, oh, this is cool, and I went and saw what the advanced looked. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. They were floating.
Yeah, like, beginners like the Irish jig.
Yeah,
you're advanced. Oh yeah, that shit is different.
Yeah, it was bananas. Yeah, you're learning the Shirley Temple.
No doubt. Do.
Yeah. I still know how to Shirley Temple. That's
hilarious. That's for a different episode, people.
Yeah, that's for the Patreon.
Hey.
All right. What is your philosophy on life?
Does it have to be a whole fucking philosophy?
It doesn't have to be a philosophy. It could just be a saying. It could just be kind of like how you're feeling.
Yeah, I'm on that like fucking, treat everybody like even the janitor. You treat everyone with the same fucking respect because we're all trying our hardest.
Yeah.
It's like that my philosophy is be the most empathetic person that you can even imagine. Wear your heart on your sleeve. Like, nurture people's weird nuances and other things that people judge. Lean into that. Make people feel good, man. That's my philosophy.
That's beautiful. That's
cool.
Hell yeah, dude. I love that.
Nice.
Man, you're so fucking cool.
Stop, man.
All right. What are some things that you love but are embarrassed about how much you love them?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I am absolutely in love with my Mazda Miata.
You know what? That's funny you bring that up because I remember we made Rachel Wolfson made a joke on your guys' Christmas thing just randomly about Miatas.
Totally.
And then and then someone came up to me and was like, "You don't understand how much Kevin loves his Miata." So please give me the backstory of why you love your Miata so much.
Totally. Why do I love it so much? Because it is, as small and as fun of a car that you can street legally own. It's like a go-kart. It's a little convertible. It's the funnest thing. So that's like the surface level. The inner level is like, I'm into this fucking weird, crazy, I don't want to say the word, but my tism shines when it comes to finding these rare parts from the 90s and the 2000s. I'm looking on these Japanese websites trying to translate things. It's like this treasure hunt for parts for a car that is widely known as the hairdresser car.
Why is it called the hairdresser car?
Well, because it's a little 90s convertible where people could afford it and you look like, your hair's flowing in the wind. It's a hairdresser's car.
Oh, okay.
It's for the LGBTQ community, maybe, that it's a Miata. It's a little funsy convertible car. You don't know the whole, there's people that will absolutely make fun of it. So I guess that could be embarrassing to me that I love this thing so much that the V8 Corvette guys are like, this guy's a dweeb.
But I mean, the Miatas also they used to race Miatas.
They did race Miatas.
Because I think Miatas have what is it called? A 50-50 differential. Their weight
You're right.
distribution's phenomenal.
It's front engine, it's rear wheel drive, so it's not like your Honda Civics that are just these little things. So
it's a phenomenal drift car too.
Yeah, that and wiener dogs.
I love wiener dogs.
Thank you. Me too.
Yeah.
Insanely. I have two. One is named Wonton. The other one is named Katsu. They're both long-haired miniature dachshunds. Yeah. And I, love them and go to different countries and take pictures of other people's and send them to my wife. And literally, am a dork. We'll go to the Wiener Dog meetups and the nationals.
They have Wiener Dog meetups?
Definitely do. They got the Wiener Dog Nationals, which is a race, and it's a Santa Anita racetrack, and it's sponsored by Oscar Mayer. They bring out the Wiener Mobile. These things were I'm not actually embarrassed, but if I had to put something on, what could people try to razz me on the internet about? Probably those two things.
I mean,
what are you embarrassed about? Let's get into this.
I mean, I'm embarrassed about. I mean, if I play Magic the Gathering,
fucking
so
cool.
Crazy. It is a crazy addiction. I have an app for it. I play. I've been secretly going to Friday night Magic events. I went to
Fire.
The last one I went to was a draft, and it's $20. You get 3 packs. You get to draft. I used to do it in high school.
That sounds cool because you're not over here bringing in your deck that has the coolest cards that you bought from eBay that you're going to beat the competitor. You're all just kind of playing almost the hand that's given to you, right?
And I'm getting absolutely destroyed by teenagers.
Okay.
It hurt my feelings so bad.
Well, their names are like Gorlock the Destroyer.
Yeah, it was no. It was so it's in person.
Sure.
So in this. It was the kid is had to be 18.
And tell me, is this a comic book store? Or?
Yeah, it's a comic. It's
cool.
Oh no, it's not a comic store. It's a card shop.
Okay.
So it's a gaming store where they have Warhammer, HeroClix.
Give it to me. This is I want
They
this.
have all of the nerdiest things you've ever heard of.
For sure. On that note, been to Frank & Sons?
I've wanted to go for so long.
Wanted only?
I've never gone yet.
Brother.
Masonic said he's going to take me, but I also know if I go, I'm going to spend as much as it costs to fix my cat.
You bring your pocketbook. You'll find anything from a model car to a pack of Magic cards to the Pokemon First Edition Charizards to that Wade Boggs rookie card. You name it.
So that's my gambling now because I never really liked gambling because it feels it just feels you lose it. You're
you're playing against the house.
Opening up packs, stuff like that feels like a different kind of gambling.
Totally.
Something where I'm like, all right, this is fun. I could do this.
Yeah, I used to collect. You familiar with Kid Robot?
Yes.
Yeah, they make vinyl toys. Yep. They made a thing called the Dunny. Mm-hmm. You used to buy them in a thing called a blind box.
Yeah.
So you would have to buy this toy not knowing what it was on the chance that it was the certain one that was either rare or the artist you liked. So it was like buying packs of cards.
Yeah.
It got repetitive and you get the same one 3 times and you're like, what am I going to do with these stupid ass things now? But I feel you. It's the luck of the draw. It's treasure hunt.
Yeah.
You're a hunter, man.
But it also does feel good playing Magic Gathering with I'm going to say other people who also like it as much as I did.
Yep. I mean, look, I'm going to a thing next week called the Miata Reunion.
What's the Miata Reunion?
So it's this thing they have every year. It's in Sonoma County at the racetrack. And there's like 1,000 Miatas that come to this fucking place.
That's
and
pretty cool.
It's so cool. But it just builds off the fact that like the more you're around people that are all geeking out on the same shit that other people might judge, the more you feel at home, man.
Yeah.
Go hang out with a 12-year-old kid that's got a better pack.
I
didn't say that.
All right, calm down.
At the comic book store while playing Magic the Gathering. Hang out with a kid of 18 years. Yeah, for sure.
No, the kid was a teenager. He destroyed me, and it was so funny because it's best of 3.
Yep.
I went 6-0
for sure,
which means I lost the first 2 games in every round. And the first round, the guy goes, "Hey, yeah, we finished so early, we could go get pizza next door." And I was like,
"Wow,
how much time do we have?" He's like, "Oh, we got about 30 minutes." And I was like, "Do people usually end this fast?" And he looked at me and he goes, "No."
Oh, the worst part is he got the pizza with his mom's money, and you had to buy your pizza on you, brother.
Oh my God. He's like, "My mom doesn't let me have pepperoni." I was like, I can't believe I just got destroyed by a kid. Oh, it was really, really fun. Smells a lot better than it used to back in the day.
Yep. Oh, yeah?
I used to be a comic book guy. I used to volunteer at a comic book shop in San Jose called Space Cat Comics off of Capitol Expressway in McKee.
Yep.
Right behind the Toys R Us.
Okay.
I think I truly attribute. My mom used to hate it when I used to go there.
Yep.
Because she was convinced that I was just like messing around and just like I was not going to like be anything.
For sure.
But I think that place kept me out of a lot of trouble because all my cousins did just dumb stuff. You know what I mean? Because their parents were gone, just always working, idle hands, all that stuff. And I think that place kept me out of a lot of trouble. So
I'm sure, man.
I love comics.
They still around or no?
No, I think they have one in San Jose. I think it's off not Bascom anymore. It's like I can't remember where it is off, but it's like it's still of one spot. That's kind of always been my dream, is to open up like a comic book coffee spot.
I mean, that seems smart when you like loop in other things, or like a comic book spot with a little event space.
Yeah.
That you could host hash events or a Magic the Gathering thing, whatever.
Or stand-up, open
all of
mics.
it, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I've still, that comic book spots have always held a special place in my heart.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
so I guess that's what I'm like.
Good. I'm glad I know that, man. I would love to learn how to play Magic the Gathering with you.
Dude. That is, I've always wanted to do Dungeons and Dragons. That's always been my...
That one seems a little different.
Yeah.
Like in a cool way. Like that one, you're immersing yourself, right?
Yeah.
And like sometimes people don't finish that on one night. Don't they keep the board out and play for...
People, there's campaigns that have lasted years.
Really?
Yeah, there's people that have done like 30-year campaigns, and like people that have just grown together. But there's a really cool show they do it at the store, and I think it tours. It's called The Purple Monster or something like that. It's a D&D group. They do it live. It's comics and a bunch of people, but they do it's a singular module, so it's ends in an hour.
Okay.
So it's basically just a suicide mission.
Right.
Everyone's level 1.
For sure.
Everyone has basic stuff. All the enemies are like overpowered.
Using up all their stuff.
Yeah, so it all ends in an hour. So everyone always dies. And so it's just very funny to see how they get there. But like that stuff is so interesting to me.
Are you a comic book guy too?
Yeah.
Video game guy too, or no?
Huge video game guy.
Yeah, what are you fucking with?
Right now, I've been playing Dragon's Dogma 2.
Okay.
Just down.
I didn't say which game did you make up on the way here.
It's like a fantasy game.
Cool.
You got you and like a squad, and you go and you beat up big monsters. It's a lot of fun.
Nice.
And then Warzone and the Space Marine 2.
Cool.
But also I get weird. I'll play like RTSs, which is like real-time strategy games.
Whoa.
So it's like simulators, like city simulators. So you're like managing resources and building stuff. So there's one.
It's like a fucking roller coaster tycoon or what?
Sort of. It's there's one that I've been playing. It's called Frostpunk 2. It's like roller coaster tycoon if the weather was trying to kill you and there was no food whatsoever.
Nice.
And you have to use heat to sustain everything. It's very, very
you're on you're gonna be an engineer off this.
I mean, it's unforgiving. You got to play political factions. Like I've played that game probably. I think the second one came out a month and a half ago. I think I've played it 40 times. Each playthrough is like a couple of days. And then like one small thing you mess up, you won't realize you fucked up until like hours later, and then
Totally.
you're like, everything's crumbling.
Oh no,
I messed up.
that's when I turn off the console.
And
Probably.
Yeah, I'll turn it off, and then I'll come back an hour later and be like, all right, let's try it again.
Nice, dust
Yeah.
off the boots.
Yeah, it's rough.
for sure.
Very unforgiving.
Fun.
Yeah. All right, we'll do one more question, then we're almost out of here. Perfect. Did you have fun?
I had a good old time.
It
The
was-
only thing that would have been better is if we were able to smoke copious amounts of hash.
Yeah.
But we'll get there, man.
We'll get
Shout
there
out to
eventually.
Melrose Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We will one day. All right. What are some weird things you do to cope with stress?
I mean, smoking hash isn't really weird.
No, not really. I mean, are you like, I'm going to do 2 back to back to back, and then you're like, all right, I feel better.
There's definitely that. I mean,
you set it to white, and you're like, all right, I'm getting out of here.
hilarious.
Did you double?
I mean, I will absolutely over consume if the time is right or wrong, should I say? You know, what do I do to deal with stress? Fucking hold it all in. So I can
You're
just
like,
blow.
just like my dad did.
You ever seen the movie Falling Down with Kirk Douglas?
One of the greatest movies ever.
He was a fucking stand-up guy
Yeah.
until one day.
Yeah. Someone didn't move their car. No,
So good.
That's so funny. All right. Anything you want to plug? Anything before we get out of here?
I mean, what do I want to plug? I'm always plugging the brand, baby.
Of course.
PUFFCO all day long. You want the best way to consume concentrates. You want to join us on Hash Mountain and get the best experience ever. PUFFCO will provide that to you. Shout out to everybody in the space that I'm friends with. You know, I'm not going to name anybody because I don't want you to feel singled out if you're not named, but I love y'all.
Hell yeah. That
Hell
was
yeah.
such a great way to handle that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name's Frank. Please rate, subscribe. Shout out our sponsors, Kalia. Shout out Alien Labs. Shout out Alien Labs. Shout out Kalia Extracts. Thank you, Mark. Shout out PUFFCO. Thank you, everybody at the team. I love you guys so much. Thank you, Melrose Podcasts. Have a good one, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.